What's going on, people? Welcome to an early morning episode of the Natty News Daily podcast. We are, what do we know? 5 days removed from WNBF Ontario. So, 5 days removed from James and Dan here returning to the stage after a lengthy time off. Obviously, for those of you that kind of followed us leading up to that show, I kind of promote that show alongside WNBF Canada, was coaching James into it. Dan was making his return as well. So a lot of really exciting stuff kind of went down over the weekend. Shared the stage with some close friends. Shared the stage with some high quality competitors, which was really cool. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of bring these two on to talk about their experience, not only at that show in particular, but just that return to the stage after such a long time off. The three of us both like our lengthy off seasons. We're not ones to kind of compete season after season. So it's been James 2020, no, 2019, Dan 2021.
21. No, 21 for me.
21. He did
Okay.
21, right?
That's right.
Mhm.
Okay. So pretty much 3 years removed
Yep.
from the stage, give or take. So let's start with you, James. How was that first kind of kickoff of the season after a very, very long time dieting? Maybe for those that don't know, kind of quickly give a little bit of backstory on how long this journey's been.
Well, I mean, I dieted for over a year. I still haven't looked back, and I'm going to track all this data at the end and have like a comprehensive post. But I mean, we started working together August-ish, I believe.
Yeah, just over
Wasn't
a
the
year.
Yeah, it wasn't the official like first check-in, but that was like our pre-prep cleanup. But when I came to you in August, I was about 195 or 205, somewhere around there, where my peak bulk had been 220. So I mean, I had already come down 15 pounds, which means I don't know, 2 months probably prior to that was when I started dieting. So it's been an exceptionally long time in a diet for sure. Um, I don't know. I jumped right back into it. It felt comfortable. And that's what all the judges' feedback was as well. Like in regards to posing and presentation, it was just like, you pose like a pro, you look comfortable up there. My posing endurance was fine. Like there was no butterflies, no feeling of anxiousness about that, anything. It was just kind of like, I've done this before. I'm going to do it again. Um, Honestly, it didn't even really feel like a normal peak week just because I'm so much busier now than when I was last time. So I was constantly running around trying
Yeah.
to do all these other things. And then it was like, all right, I'm leaving tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. I should probably pack some bags. Where in the past it was like shut everything down, no clients, none of this, like minimal work, and just I don't know. It was very like, yeah, we're gonna compete this weekend. We'll just go have a good time. And
Yeah, yeah.
it
One thing
was.
too, I just want to add, like, it's always interesting for me as a coach, like working with people that have competed before. Um, just like backstage, you were just so calm and just excited and happy, and you just knew what to do and when to do it. And yeah, you were like, should I do this now? What do you want me to do right here? Like the basic stuff, but it's always so interesting with first time competitors because they just have no clue like what is a pump up? When do I pump up? Where do I need to be right now? Like, both of you are just kind of floating around backstage, like just waiting for your number to be called. Like even something so simple like that, when new clients will be like, when do I go on stage? I'm like, just listen, right? There's a run sheet there. Just, keep an eye out for that. And it's for me, it was really, really nice because I got to like just be there with you guys. Obviously as a coach for you, but just as a friend, as someone who was just wanting to be in those moments and stuff. Like it was just low key, which was nice, right? And especially after that time off, it's kind of like riding a bike. You never really forget the series of events you need to do and kind of how you need to carry yourself. And what was nice about this show was that it was like prejudging finals back to back. So you kind of just like got yourself where you needed to be and then did the thing, right?
I think it's also important to note that James and I were there last year and see how tight of a ship that Charlotte
True.
and run, and like it's very reliable. They're very reliable as to because like most shows, let's be honest, like you're like, oh, I'll be on stage like at 10, and then it's like noon, and it's like,
Yeah.
what happened? Like,
Yeah.
and then I'll be on stage again at 3, and then it's like 6:30. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah, shout out to
I was
Leo and
very
Charlotte.
confident. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be on stage like 10:30-ish. I think it was like 10:15.
Yeah.
Something like that. But like I could easily follow. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I will say that was a different experience posing on stage for them because Leo works people.
Yeah, Leo don't mess
I
around.
mean, I think the only other time I've been on stage anywhere comparable was with Franco's show, the OCB show in New Jersey. He keeps people on stage for a good amount of time, but like, I don't know, it felt like the one class was like 30 minutes. I don't know if it was or not, but with me doing 3 different classes,
Yeah.
I was smoked by the end of the day. I probably burned like 1,500 calories just from posing throughout the day.
Jeff said the
I'd
same
guess the
thing
open
too.
class are probably 20, if I had to guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Long,
I don't know.
long time.
They were long for me. Yeah, but yeah, I would guess about 20.
Now you know why I harp on people about posing, because you get in these situations like a lot of the local shows, you know, one round, couple moves, maybe a couple more mandatories. All right, guys, thanks for coming on. It's like 7 minutes probably on average, which is nothing, right? But you get out there, you know, 2 or 3 rounds of quarter turns before you've even hit a mandatory, and you're like, oh shit, like we're not even we haven't even gotten started yet, and I'm already starting to like sweat and breathe and shit, right? So, you're not the only one to say that, which I think is good, because a lot of people just kind of scoff at posing practice, and they're like, oh yeah, like I know what I'm doing, like it'll be fine. It's like, man, you get up there for even 15 minutes of nonstop posing, because you don't get to chill, right? Like it's not any of those relaxed poses, they're not relaxed. So if you go for even 15 minutes, right? Which that doesn't seem like a long time, but when you're in that, it's hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It was very much, I think that like modified some of the planning. It was like, all right, I need more carbs in me like now because I just blew through so much before we go back on stage.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Would
Which
you would you go for it? Just some rice cakes and
I think
I didn't
I've,
see what you were eating.
yeah. So in between, so we had a bigger break between classic physique and like men's physique because I was like
Yeah,
early cohort to late cohort. So that one I did a legitimate like rice and chicken
yeah,
meal
yeah,
with
that's
honey on top and just like got like whole food in me. But in between bodybuilding and classic, I think it was just, yeah, like pour honey straight in my mouth
yeah, yeah.
and like highly branched chain cyclic dextrin and just all the like quick stuff, just like pounded probably 50, 60 grams of carbs and tried to
you
do it
like
again.
HBCD? You like cluster dextrin?
I don't know. I think I got to experiment with it more. It didn't upset the stomach. But again, and I haven't seen the professional photos yet, but me and Leroy know like the physique kind of faded throughout the day a little bit. So
Salted?
I like flattened out. I flattened out really, really hard. Well, that's like the opposite of what happened. But yeah, I looked softer because I got flat, I think. And then
Did
Leroy
you put
can,
salt in it too?
well, the salt was in the pump, right? So core pump has a good amount of salts in it.
You
So
could
I
probably
didn't
do
add
more
extra.
still.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and again, that's one of
I
those
mean,
things like
if you do like
in,
40 grams or 50 grams of cluster dextrin, you're gonna need some salt to go along with that, right?
yeah. Yeah. That's one of those things that like, that was a new thing that I added in place of Gatorade. So,
Yeah, and
we
Gatorade is salted, so and then
uh,
the HBCD is not, so
yeah,
that's
modified a couple of factors there. Just laughing at Leroy's cat
I am too.
aggressively. Yeah, so you start messing with some variables and it can alter your look very quickly, especially when you throw in like mass amounts of posing and like maybe some stress that I didn't know was there. And I know, well, but
Yeah.
we know I'm more conditioned than what those photos show. So we're gonna fix that for this week.
Yep, yep. So obviously now into peak week round two. So James and Dan both actually are doing back-to-back shows. So James, what have we changed this week in contrast to going into last week?
Yeah. So, and this was a discussion that I had with you Sunday, pretty much as soon as I got home,
Yeah,
because we did, and I mean, you were with me. We didn't do, both of you were. We didn't do a massive meal out. It was burger and fries, and I even went sweet potato fries. I just like them more anyway. And that was it. Like for the post show, I had another chicken and rice meal directly after the show, like a protein bar, and then I had the burger and fries and went to bed. Woke up the next morning, ate some cream of rice with whey, had a banana and shake in the car, and then I got home and like took photos, and I was like, holy shit, you're like filled out, I'm vascular, I'm grainy again. So it's like, okay, we need a little bit more carbs, and maybe the depletion that we did was a little too aggressive on top of the length of the deficit, right? Like when you diet for as long as I was, how much more depleted do I need to be, I guess?
Yeah.
I mean, it did its job because the weight dropped and fat came off areas it hadn't, but maybe it was just too aggressive to try and dig, come back out of that hole that we dug.
Yeah.
So no depletion this week. Carbs have been
Didn't
just
load
shy.
that hard either.
No, we did a conservative load. Yeah. Carbs have been linear across the week, just shy of 200, kind of more of like a cruising amount for me. And then we'll just do a 2-day carb up leading into the show and make it a little bit more aggressive. But, we're playing with weights a little bit just to hit the weight cutoff. But other than that, it's, in my opinion, trying to de-stress as much as possible. No cardio, no like massive
What
step
kind of
goal.
numbers?
That's up to Leroy.
Yeah, I think last week, like you said, we were conservative. I think, you know,
You were in the 300s, I think, maybe 350.
yeah, it wasn't too ambitious. Like maybe across 3 days was like 700 maybe. So again, nothing wild. But right now, like James said, we're kind of cruising, just like maintaining the look because like the look already, he's sharper in the lower body, upper body's got some pop to it. Even in the morning when you're flat, without a pump, like there's clearly a bit more like oomph to those poses. So we're just kind of holding right now and again, kind of keeping a weight cap in mind just so we don't kind of blow that out of the water, taking those afternoon and evening weights just to be kind of mindful of things. So we opted to do, so today's Thursday, so you're 3 days out, Sunday show this week. So we're going to run the base day again today, suspecting 155, 157 to maintain for us into tomorrow. Then tomorrow we'll probably do like a good 350 right off the hop. Then
That makes me
early weigh,
smile.
yeah, early weigh in on Saturday is 4 p.m.
Yeah.
We're gonna be cautious in the morning, just 2 meals, probably pretty low GI carbs, no fiber. Just keep
How
them.
concerned are you about being under 165?
It's it's
Just with seeing the 2 pound jump, like I've weighed in 155 2 days in a row, and then today weighed in at 157. So my weight's volatile. It can
But
change
even
very
if you see
quickly.
like a 160 or 161, like you'll be able to make it.
Yeah, we're just
My opinion, I think you're
making
a
sure.
little more
but
concerned.
then from like pretty much 4 o'clock till 10 p.m., like it'll probably be like 150, 200 every like 2 hours. You know what I mean? So I think we'll be in good
Do
shape
it a
come
little bit
Sunday.
more rapid backload style. And then if we need to, I don't compete till 10. So if I wake up soft, we have time to get me moving, do a little bit of like a pump to burn through some glycogen and harden back up, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Dope. All right, Dano.
You'll be good for 165.
Oh yeah. Let you finish that bite and then we can chat.
You're gonna ask a question. I'm waiting on you.
New WNBF Pro. How's that feel?
Feels great, man.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool for all of us, I think. I think just to see that on that stage with all of us there, I think that's like a core memory unlocked kind of deal. It's
I would
very
say so. Yeah.
very reminiscent of 2022 for me. So you know, something I won't ever forget, right? Like there's gonna be a photo printed of that for sure. It was
Yeah.
good.
Against great competition too, right? Like not to toot your horn for like putting on a good show, but like everyone there was a good competitor. It was not an easy pro card win by any means.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, going in, I mean, I think I told you guys I don't usually follow too closely with who's competing and like stock and that kind of thing. But Leroy, with you, me being so close to you, it was
Yeah.
literally impossible.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I went in Noah seeing Angelo, and I legitimately thought I was going to take second to Angelo going in.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny.
hell
Like
of a
I'll
competitor.
talk you
And
I'll
then
talk you up a little bit. Like obviously I coach Angelo, so we had a call Monday, just going over the show, plan of action moving forward and this and that. And he's obviously like what what caused me to come second to Dan. And there's a few things that I think for Angelo, posing wise, presentation wise, that just you did better, right? Like from a display standpoint. But I think, when we look at physique wise, your back's come a long way. I mean, your back's always been strong, but I think like that's definitely where
Or like depth and thickness has been strong, but I brought up my lats a lot.
yeah, yeah. Like, I tell clients, like, if you have the width, that's great, but you need like that towards the judges, right? And I think I told you this at the show, Dan, that you just had
Yeah.
more coming to the judges. Yeah, that 3D look that people will talk about. Other shots, like, you really did well with your front poses. Because your waist is not the smallest, but you really posed in a way that you didn't notice that. You know what I mean? Like you really, presented yourself in a way that hid weaknesses well and made strong points look stronger. Which, anybody that's followed you has seen the posing work that you've done, along with the development that your physique has undergone the last, 2-3 years, whatever it's been, right? So I think on the day you were probably a unanimous win. I didn't get that answer from the judges, but if I was to give you an answer to that, I think that's what it would go.
Yeah, reflecting back a few days later, like I thought it was close, definitely for sure. But reflecting back a few days later, I think I might have edged, been pretty clear cut more than I actually thought.
Yeah, I think and I said this to Angelo, I don't know if it was you 8 poses, Angelo 0. I don't know if I could give you
I think
that.
Andy probably got me on a few, but
Yeah, I think
I
it
think
was.
I probably took all the back poses, and then like front and sides we traded, but like
Yeah, there was
probably took
trade.
all the back shots. So
Yep, for sure. I would say like, it was probably like a 5-3, 6-2 U, something to that effect, right? If we're just looking at the poses. But I was super impressed, man. Like, obviously I haven't seen you in person,
you-
A, on stage ever, and B, like, since you've
yeah,
leveled up, right? So I was super super impressed, just as a fan of the sport, but also as your friend. Like, it was really really cool to see. And then in that overall was exciting, man. You, Jeff, and Derek. I was.
yeah. And then going in, I knew that Derek had beat Angelo, so I was like, well, I got like
and and
I was
and
like,
not just because he's my client, but I was really happy with Jeff. I've got footage.
getting in the lightweight. Yeah, winning lightweight was awesome.
Yeah, but like looking at the footage, I don't know if it was like him being harder or just the way his tan was sitting, but like conditioning wise, like he was knocking on you guys a little bit. And there was a couple poses where I'm like, man, Jeff's for sure physically smaller, but I'm like, that side tricep I could give to Jeff. Um, even like the front poses with his shape, because he had better shape from the front than both of you, but you guys were just so much bigger that I think, like, you know,
Yeah.
that's gonna probably trump it. But
I had
I
a few judges that were telling me because I knew it was mostly between me and Derek, but I had a few judges mention Jeff, like between you and Jeff, like
yeah, like it was super exciting, and I think
I think a
that's
few judges might have even
I
had Jeff
th-
second, but
yeah.
I think the overall was closer than the heavyweight. I think coming out of the heavyweight, I felt very confident that you were going to win that, Dan.
I felt good
But
because I
then
helped center that entire round.
and
And
then yeah, the
I was
overall,
so
I was
pumped
like,
after coming off stage from that.
Yeah.
overall, I felt could go any direction based on what you were seeing. Because like you said, Jeff looked sharp as hell, right?
Yeah.
And then like Derek's that nice combination of size and definition. And then I think Dan at that point, at least from the angle, because I wasn't in front, I was from the side. From that angle, your conditioning seemed to be almost not as sharp as it was the first round. So I was like, oh no, is he fading while they're getting harder? And I was stressed about the overall for sure.
You were so big, right? And that's something someone else commented. They're like, I didn't realize like how big Dan is. I'm like, he's got, you've got obviously good muscle, but again, I think it just speaks to how you presented yourself, how you pose. And this is something that, I harp on Angelo about, is he poses small. He's a big dude, but he poses small. Like, every front relaxed. I'm like, he's like this. I'm like, dude, like, especially,
Breathe into
especially,
it.
especially against you, because you were
Oh, yeah.
posing so big. And I'm like,
That's what
man, you,
Emily harped on me all these big. Breathe in, air, up, constantly. And then you told me coming in that Angela poses small. I'm like, oh, that's
yep,
on my mind now. I'm
yep,
gonna.
yep, yep. And that, this is not to knock on anybody that you were against, or, because again, some of them are my clients, but it was so exciting to see good bodybuilders, which I think, even though numbers were down from last year, I think the quality was still very, very good across light, middle, heavy into the overall. Like, it was just, again, you felt it in the audience, you saw the excitement in people's eyes, and, the judges were all smiling, like it was just good, right?
Well, both
Yeah,
Angela and Derek are coming off wins in the CPA and other orgs, right? In big shows too. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Angelo, he won his class prior, took second to Derek in the overall. Just prior to that was second to an IFBB Pro card win, right? So, um, no shortage of momentum, and Jeff, obviously season was kind of like leading up to this being a big target for us, and it's it was great. It was great to see just really good bodybuilding go down. So you're heading into pro debut.
That's
Quick
right.
turnaround, quick turnaround.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the urine test may still prove that you're not natty, but
Uh-oh.
uh-oh. How you feeling? How you feeling going into that? Obviously a big step up right away.
Big step up, but honestly, I feel a lot less pressure. Um, because coming into Ontario, like, or coming into the season in general, my objective was okay. Main two things, priorities would be try for a WNBF Pro card and Mr. America, right?
Mhm. Yep.
So coming into Ontario, I was like I said, I thought I was going to take second, and I knew there was only one pro card available. So I was like, okay, well, if I don't win in Ontario, then I'm going to have to win it at Natural Mania. But if I don't win it at Natural Mania, like, what am I going to do? Am I going to have to plug another show? And then I've got a limited time window between that Mr. America, and then Mr. America is likely where I'm going to shut it down. I'm almost certain that that's where I'm going to shut it down, especially with unannounced stuff we've got going on, which we'll cover later. Um, but I was like, okay, well then I got basically one weekend where I can slot that in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's more weekends, but I've got commitments the weekend before, and then James has come in for Pittsburgh the weekend before Mr. America, so like I want to be there, and yeah, it's so I had one weekend. I'm like looking at shows, like there's just like a lot of like, okay, well, what am I gonna do, right? And is
Yeah.
it gonna happen? But now that now that I have the pro card, it's like that pressure is completely off, and I just feel mentally in a much different place than I did, a week ago, where I can just like there's no I don't want to say expectations, but like
Yeah, I know what you mean
it's
for
not
sure.
like I have to, like do all this goofy stuff or like finagle or figure out like, okay, well, if XYZ happens, then this. It's like this weekend, it's just let's just do the thing. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're up the ranks now, right? So it's not like you said, not that there's no expectations, but it's you were the big fish in theory. Now you're that small fish again. And I think, like, for us especially, you just know what's out there, right? Like, just being so deep in the weeds of natural bodybuilding. I think that's something for me that's like kind of helped me process like where where I could land in the grand scheme of things in the sport. And you just see like what the best of the best of the best can look like. And if I happen to share a stage with them, it's like, oof, you know, you got me, Dirk. Nice job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, some of the names that are competing against you, but like, say Bada was like, I'm gonna go do Pro Universe,
that'd be
right?
awesome.
It would be absolutely epic. And I think that's a prime way to answer that
But
is
I'm
like
not beat
that.
if Bada shows up unless he's way out of shape. I'm not beat Bada.
You know what I mean? And I think that's just eventually every athlete gets to that point in the sport where it's like, you know, you can recognize your accomplishments, be proud of what you've accomplished, be proud of what you've improved upon, because that's the thing and the core memories that you unlock in this sport. But then at the end of the day, man, like, some of the names that you're going to share the stage against, and you can probably be like, yeah, man, I might take him out, might battle it out with him. That'd be sick. But man, Bada's like, I'm going to go. Dan just won his pro card. I'm going to go make him cry a little bit. Like, that is a not impossible scenario in the sport that we're in, and you just have to let that go and be at peace with that. And I think that's, you said, like, there's no pressure, there's no this, there's no that. It's like, I've ticked that box. I am a pro, and I'm gonna have fun the rest of the season, and then I'm gonna go into the off season and be a better pro. Like that's it, right? And I think,
Well, I'll push back a little bit because I'm planning to be competitive. Like I'm
oh,
planning to
for
be good
sure, for
next. And
sure.
I'm not saying like I think there's a possibility I can win this weekend, but like, and then Mr. America, I don't think I can win, but I think I can be in that first half, top half, maybe first call. You never know. But the thing is though is, and I'll push back a little bit more. Like every season, I find new ceilings, and I mean, I find ways to add stage weight every single off season in substantial amounts. Like I was about 10 pounds heavier at Ontario than I was in my 2021 season. So I put on right around 10 pounds of stage weight since then. And I mean, some of that is like peaking and whatnot. Like I had a really, really good peak for Ontario. And granted, I think I could still be a little bit tighter, but I mean, I've added legitimately 10 pounds of stage weight since my 2021 season. So it's like I added 10 pounds from 2018 to 2021. I somehow figured out a way to add 10 this time around. Like, I don't know. I mean, obviously that just doesn't just keep continuing, but who
You
knows?
imagine.
Maybe one day I could be 180, 185 on stage, like at 40, 45. Like
This
that's like
this
that's
the collective of three people here are going to teach me how to do that for my next off season. I don't want to see
No,
another 150.
yeah, yeah. No, man. I mean, 100%. Like, and that's not something that I was ever going to like say is like, oh yeah, Dan, you've hit your peak. Nice job.
Yeah,
Downhill
no,
from
no,
here.
no. I get that. But like
But
in the current state of time, like
yeah,
there's guys
yeah,
I'm not gonna beat. If they're on, I'm not gonna beat, right?
yeah,
But
yeah. But you're right.
But
Like
you've proven yourself now. That's the thing.
yeah,
Like now it's like I get to go pick my matchups. Where when you're trying to get that pro card, it's like I gotta go, I gotta do it, I gotta prove myself. Like it has to happen. And that's a pressure that I feel because every time I step on stage, it's like the sport has evolved again. It's like, holy fuck, can I keep up with this? Like when I first competed 2017, dudes weren't getting as big and as shredded as they are. And then you look at 19 again, it's like, holy fuck, like the competition's even harder. And then again and again, and it just keeps evolving. It's like you just have to adapt to keep up. And I'm like keeping my like chin above water a little bit. But yeah, it seems tough right now to, I think honestly, like to get that pro card is pretty challenging across the board. And not to say that winning a pro show is not, but I feel like once you get there, you can take a sigh of relief and just be like, we did it. We're there. I won't lose it now. Now I can like game plan and strategize and not just like keep grinding and competing to get the card.
yeah,
yeah, I mean, granted, I think some of that pressure will resume once I'm like, okay, I'm a pro now, and like, okay, now like I've laid out a pro season, but it's just like, yeah, and I also just don't feel the pressure. Like I have to compete in more INBF shows and plug more shows. That's just and I've also thought like if I did plug another show, like maybe I'm still looking like maybe I'll plug another show, but it's like I don't have to do any organization or any like there's no like I have to do this show. It's like I could do just whatever show I wanted, right? I could do that show in York, PA, and the NPC show and see what's up there. I could go down wherever. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm on the other side now, like going into the next season after that. that win and the eyes and the, you know, the noise in the background of you've got this, you're gonna kill it and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, I'm
But
sure you feel it. You got to feel it. Yeah, a little bit.
oh man, yeah,
You've been,
there's a lot of
building
chatter
up,
going
building up
on.
to 25, which you should. I mean, yeah, you're gonna do very well. But
I'm excited. I'm excited. But I think if I was probably like in the same boat as you, if I just like jumped right into it like a week or two later, it would have been like, I'm just gonna jump up, crush it, see what happens. But now I'm like improved from that win. So it's like, okay, now I've got to really like nail it because 3 years later, you better be better.
you set such a high standard for yourself too.
Yeah.
You had such a great 2022 season. I mean, went undefeated, and
Yeah.
the look you brought was ridiculous.
How do how do I do better than 4 for 4?
How do I?
I gotta pick 5 shows and I have to win them all or it's a failure. Damn it. Cool. All right. So boys are 3 days out. We're excited. We're feeling good. We're improved. Show 2 of 5 for James. Show 2 of 4, Dan, or 2 of 5?
It might be 3. We'll see.
Oh yeah, because you might just do Mr. A. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
2 of 3 to 4.
Sweet.
3 minimum.
Dope. All right, people. Well, you know what to do. This is going to be live tomorrow. Tomorrow this will be live. So you'll be watching this 2 days out for the guys. Obviously, shoot them some love, shoot them some kind words, shoot them some pressure that you've got this, you're going to kill it and this and that, make them sweat a little bit. Natty News is growing. We appreciate you guys because without you, there's certain things that are going to happen that would have never happened. The support is truly, it truly means a lot. We're really in this for the love of it, and I think people see that, and I think that's why people support us like they do, and it does not go unnoticed. And we're just trying to build this sport up in the ways that we can. And again, we thank you. We appreciate you. If you guys enjoyed this episode, you know what to do. Like, subscribe. If you're not following us on Instagram, which I assume most of you watching this are, but if you somehow found us on YouTube and Spotify, follow us on Instagram at natty_news_daily, and we'll see you guys in the next one.